Background: Zheng He was born in 1371 as a Chinese Muslim. In 1381, he started to work for the emperor of the Ming Empire. In 1403, the emperor ordered a fleet of ships to travel and explore places around the South China Sea and Indian Ocean, and he appointed Zheng He as the commander. Zheng He then went on to lead over 300 ships on 7 voyages that lasted 28 years, exploring and establishing trading relationships with other countries. Early life: Zheng He was born near the Himalayas in 1371. He was a Muslim and his birth name was Mahi. When he was 10, the Ming army invaded his home to take from the Mongols. Mahi's father was killed and he was captured and forced to be a servant in the house of the emperor, distinguishing himself. While he was working for the emperor, Mahe grew and became a strong and skilled fighter. After the emperor died in 1402, his relative Zhu Di took the throne. Zhu Di was the prince that Mahe served, and when he became emperor, he made Mahe, who he was friends with, the chief of staff and military commander. He also changed Mahe's name to Zheng He.
So, what was his mission? Well, he was trying to expand Chinese influence and create more trade opportunities. So, how did he do it? He used multi-sailed large treasure ships and navigation techniques such as compasses and rudders in their new ships. So, he had a large fleet. They were mostly treasure ships and a couple military ships.
In 1405, China launched 7 voyages of exploration in order to find out more about the outside world and to try and impress the world with the power of the Ming dynasty. Zheng He led all of these voyages. His expeditions were remarkable for their size, including the distances traveled, fleet size, and ship measurements. The voyages ranged from Southeast Asia to Eastern Africa, and 40 to 300 ships sailed in each expedition. Some of the ships even measured over 400 feet long. Additionally, everywhere Zheng He went, he distributed gifts, like silver and silk, to show Chinese superiority. However, some people claim the expeditions wasted valuable resources, so, after the 7th voyage in 1433, China withdrew into isolation. During his 4th voyage in 1413, Zheng He traveled to the Arab port at the mouth of the Persian Gulf. This marked the furthest westward point of his expeditions, allowing him to establish trade connections with Arabia. In 1413, Zheng He's fleet sailed down the coast of Arabia, visiting what is modern-day Oman and Yemen. Then again, during his 7th voyage in 1431, Zheng He's fleet traveled to the southern coast of Arabia.
On Zheng He's first voyage from 1405 to 1407, he sailed to Champa, Siam, Java, and Sumatra, now modern-day Vietnam, Thailand, and Indonesia. The fleet composed of 317 ships, including perhaps as much as 60 huge treasure ships and nearly 28,000 men. In addition to thousands of soldiers, builders, and repairmen for the trip, there were soldiers, diplomatic specialists, medical personnel, astronomers, and scholars of foreign ways, especially Islam. Zheng He's ultimate destination for the first voyage was Cochin and Calicut, India. On his way back, he captured an infamous pirate and took him back for trial. He organized the second voyage for the inauguration of the King of Calicut, but he did not attend it in person. For the third voyage, he led the fleet to revisit the places he had been, plus Malacca and Ceylon. The fifth voyage returned foreign officials. On this trip, Zheng He ventured first to Aden, Mogadishu, Brawa, and Milindi. Many ambassadors from the countries visited came back to China with him. The sixth expedition of 41 ships sailed to return ambassadors. Zheng He returned to China after less than a year, having sent his fleet onwards to pursue several separate itineraries, with some ships going perhaps as far as Sofala. The seventh and final voyage was set out by the Yongle Emperor's successor, his grandson, the Xuandi emperor.
After his final voyage, Zheng He stopped at 2 places in China to have granite inscriptions placed. He wanted to ensure that his deeds would be understood and not forgotten. In his first inscription, Zheng He described his dependence on Tianfei, the goddess of Chinese sailors. On the second inscription, Zheng He explained the purpose of the voyages and his gratitude to the sea goddess. Towards the end of Zheng He's 7th voyage in 1433, Zheng He died and was said to have been buried at sea. The new Chinese emperor ordered an end to the expensive expeditions, claiming that the resources were needed for land defenses instead. For many years afterward, people minimized the importance of Zheng He and his expeditions, and he was often left out of publications. Zheng He's voyages increased China's trade and influence around the world. Zheng He expanded China's political influence in other countries, creating good relations. His voyages also opened up new trade routes and increased the trade of Chinese goods, for example, silks, teas, and rice. These voyages facilitated cultural diffusion, introducing Chinese trade and cultures and ideas to other places and coming back to China with valuable knowledge and ideas that contributed to China's increased trade and economic growth.
Zheng He's contributions. Zheng He helped China leave isolationism and expand Chinese trade in Asia and Africa. He also expanded China's political influence and commanded the largest and most advanced fleet the world has seen. Death. Zheng He died in Calcutta, India, during his 7th voyage in 1433 due to illness, and he was buried at sea.
The significance of Zheng He's journeys. Zheng He's journeys were crucial in expanding China's overseas influence, doing trade, and establishing relationships across Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. His expeditions showcased how strong China was and helped spread Chinese culture, goods, and political influence to distant lands. Zheng He's total impact. Zheng He's journeys expanded China's political and economic reach, strengthening ties with foreign countries across the world through trade. His expeditions also contributed to the spread of new Chinese technology, which benefited the whole world, and he also helped China by taking them out of isolationism. Thanks for watching. I'm going to try to read that.